Well, very pleased to have with us Congressman Blake Farenthold joining us tonight. And Congressman, thank you so much for your time, sir.
Good evening, Cam.
It's good talking to you once again. And, it's amazing. Every time we talk about Operation Fast and Furious, the story just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. Now, I think we're not even talking just about operations in Arizona, but a lot of questions about ATF operations in your state of Texas. I know that the family of one of the ICE agents killed in Mexico, Agent Zapata, they want to know how on earth a guy under ATF surveillance got a hold of guns and then managed to get these guns to cartel members in Mexico. Were these guns allowed to walk across the border?
It makes absolutely no sense to me. The Committee on Government Oversight and Reform and I are investigating that. We've sent letters to ATF requesting information, and we are getting the slow roll. It's like they're going to try to wait us out. And just like getting documents out of the Department of Justice on Fast and Furious, they're just absolutely not forthcoming with documents. And I'll tell you, to me, there's no better indication than somebody has something to hide than stonewalling.
I know that the family has hired a former U.S. attorney, Trey Martinez. He says, we don't know if this is a gun-walking operation, but there is circumstantial evidence that there was. One of the guns was bought in August of 2010. The other was bought in October of 2010 by a gun trafficking ring that included a fellow named Otilio Osorio. He's been indicted, but apparently he was under ATF surveillance at the time the gun was purchased, and yet a warrant wasn't issued for his arrest until the day before Agent Zapata and his partner were actually attacked in Mexico.
You've got 30 guns with obliterated serial numbers that he was involved with. The ATF wouldn't even bother to go knock on his door and question him. It makes absolutely no sense the way they're handling these investigations with gun trafficking. I talked to Jaime Zapata's brother, Amador, this afternoon on the telephone just to check in. I represent Brownsville, Texas, where the Zapata family lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in contact with the family. I've visited with them in Washington and offered any amount of help that I could get. And Amador says that they're just concerned about getting to the bottom of what happened here and making sure we don't have policies in place that put our agents in jeopardy. Amador works for the Department of Homeland Security down on the border.
Well, absolutely. And Congressman, I want to touch on something. The head of the Dallas ATF office says that his office did not walk guns or knowingly allow guns to go south, as in Operation Fast and Furious. But he did tell the Dallas Morning News in March that his agents could have arrested these individuals 3 months before they did, when they delivered 40 guns to this informant with those obliterated serial numbers, as you mentioned, while they were under surveillance. And he says, quote, "I know people will criticize us for not taking these guys down immediately, but we weren't sure what they were up to." Well, you knew they weren't. We knew they weren't up to any good, right?
It's like they sit back and wait until there's a crisis for something to be done. And I think just as we've looked at the Arizona office of the ATF, it's time the Dallas office get a little bit of scrutiny too. There are a whole lot of guns that potentially went to Mexico down here. We want to make sure that they were playing smart and not involved in something similar to Fast and Furious. And the fact that we're not getting answers on some of these operations, again, hints that there might be a problem. If you got nothing to hide, turn the documents over.
Well, absolutely. And here it is, another family of a slain law enforcement officer who just can't get answers about their loved one's death from our government.
Again, I'm just stunned at how the ATF, the federal law enforcement agent, and I've met and know some of these guys, and they're good, hardworking, loyal, dedicated agents, and it looks like they're being managed by the Keystone Cops.
I can't disagree with you, Congressman. I mean, that's what's so frustrating about this is, we know that there are good professional members of this organization, but why on earth are we seeing the administration apparently behave in this manner? Is this something that you anticipate the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee is going to be asking some questions about this case as well?
We've already written some letters and have not gotten a response. And, as you're following Fast and Furious now, there's some folks in the White House we want to talk to now, too. My belief is that some of these policies are coming from higher up the chain of command than certainly the branch office, field office agents.
Well, I understand we talked, my colleague Ginny Simone spoke with Representative Icey yesterday, and I know that Kevin Riley, that former National Security Council staffer, is someone that you'd like to discuss Fast and Furious with. But at this point, while his attorney says he's willing to talk, the White House has not yet approved him speaking?
Right, a separation of powers issue that they're claiming. And once again, we come back to, if you don't have anything to hide, come talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And for an administration that has complained about how long this investigation has taken, well, the longer they stonewall, the longer the investigation is going to take. If they want to wrap it up, they should start cooperating.
I agree. Do I have 45 seconds to go on my soapbox about what I think President Obama is up to?
Please do.
I think we have got a president who has made such a fundamental change to our country through his own actions of appointing people, be it Eric Holder in the Justice Department, be it the folks in the EPA. They're not hiring professionals. They're hiring ideologues with a political agenda, and then they are hiring underlings with the same ideological background, to the point where beyond just the political appointees, it can change when the president changes. We've got rank-and-file members of, say, the EPA or the Department of Justice or that are ideologues, and they're going to be there for years. He has done more damage to this country in the 3 years he has been president than I could possibly explain.
Because of the career civil servants,
because
quote
of
unquote.
The career civil servants that are in there. The founding fathers never envisioned a president who would sidestep Congress, sidestep the courts, and act more like a king than a president. And then you add on to that his comment in Russia, wait until after the election when I can do more, and you should be scared, very, very scared.
Well, we've talked about this, because this is something that we're trying to remind gun owners about, the possibility of a second term for Barack Obama, what it can mean in terms of judicial appointments to the Supreme Court, but also, again, as you say, he indicated, not to the American people, at least not intentionally, but he did indicate that when he's not having to worry about running for re-election, what was the phrase? He's going to have more flexibility. More flexibility. Yeah.
And listen, you think Operation Fast and Furious may just be a botched operation, but I'm becoming much more to the belief that it is an intentional assault on gun owners' rights. Just like the EPA is doing it to the oil and gas industry, we're going to have ATF do it to gun owners. We've created a crisis now with these guns going over to Mexico. Mm-hmm. Without an act of Congress, the ATF is requiring reports on weapons, multiple weapon sales, only in border states. Violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, violation, I think, of the Second Amendment to the Constitution. But the Constitution is not going to stop Obama. The only way he can be stopped is with a vote in November.
Talking with Congressman Blake Farenthold, Republican from Texas. And Congressman, again, thank you for your time, sir. Have a great weekend, and hope we can talk to you again very soon.
Cam, I'm available anytime.
Thank you so much, sir.